Okay guys, so the next little lesson is just for those who don't want to download or purchase the Mapboards application. I'm just going to show you how to manually flat pack all the items, just in case you missed it on the previous lesson. So the idea of the manual flat packing is to put all of the panels in a sheet format so that the CNC machine can actually cut out all these panels. Now, as mentioned earlier, all these panels are single phase, so you can just turn this one around, just give you an idea quickly, 180 degrees, and so okay. You'll notice that the machine path from the top is visible now. So what we want to do is we want to get all the machine paths facing the top. That means these panels need to be moved 90 degrees with the machine face on top, like that. And the same rule applies for this one. We're going to go up and then have the machine face to the top. Obviously, if this one was upside down, I just want to do it quickly on this specific model just to show you. If we go and we turn it, flip it upside down, you'll notice that this slot is at the bottom, which won't be accessible to the CNC machine. So what we want to do is we want to have all the slots and cutout points facing the top. I hope that makes sense. So basically what we'll do is we'll just take all the machine sides, face them to the top, 90 degrees, and get them into position. So the first thing we want to do is just do it with all these parts. This part doesn't matter. It's just a normal square cut panel, so that is fine. Doesn't bug anyone. That one doesn't bug anyone either. So basically, the idea is to get everything out on a flat panel. So the other quick way of doing this would be to use the align tool. In this case, I'm just going to show you quickly. We're just going to align that panel with that panel, and off you go. And then we'll use that panel with that panel. Now you'll see that this is facing down, so you can just hit the flip button over here, and then the flip button will flip this item upside down, and we'll just keep going with this process until we've got everything sorted out. So again, we need to flip this panel to have the slot visible up top. So the idea is to get all these panels flat, facing upwards. And I'm actually going manually through the whole lot so that you can see exactly what it is that I'm doing. Might take a little bit of a while, but it's okay. Again, flip it the other way. Okay, now all the panels are basically flat and facing to the top. Just want to take a quick look. Okay, so the one thing you'll notice now, if we look at the side, we've got them lying on all kinds of different levels, which is obviously hard for the machine to pick up. So now the next step would be to just get all these parts, let's move them, separate them sort of slightly, just at least see what's going to go where. So you've got no overlapping parts. So I think that covers it. Now what we want to do is get all these panels on the same plane. In other words, we want to get one 16mm line all the way across. The way we'll do that is we'll choose a certain height. We'll use this one as a reference point, and then we can simply just select this one and align it with that. That one is aligned, and then we can do the same with this. And then basically just go through this entire process. You'll notice that once all of this is done, it is a longer process, and that's the reason why Mapboards is such a cool plugin, because it takes this entire, what would be a normal half an hour or whatever process, and turns into a couple of seconds, which is obviously quite a time saver. And at $14 or whatever the plugin price is well worth it. Okay, so just select these. Sure, we're almost done. And the last one. Okay, so now we've got all of them on a plane. So you'll notice that we've got everything down and sorted out nicely. It's all on the same plane, which means that we can machine this. Now the next step is to actually make sure that we can do this on a machine size that we've got. So I think for the purpose of this exercise, I think we will do a standard 1.2 meter by 2.4 meter board. It is smaller than our machines, but it'll give you some sort of indication of how we can nest these things in smaller spaces for smaller machines and so on. So our next step would be to create a sketch on a plane and then to just give it some dimensions. So we'll just go 2.4 meters by 1.2 meters and just say finish sketch. Now that's just a guideline to say, okay, we've got to make all these parts fit. Now, we can start off with these and line up all of those. Just manually position them to where we need. Again, the plugin saves you all of this time, but I just thought that we'll add the manual flat packing just so that you can see what the process is and what the plugin actually does for you. We'll just add that over there. We've got 4 of these panels. Almost done. Now this very basic flat packing, we could do it a lot neater, and I'll show you how we can add that now. I don't fit there, it's not ideally positioned over there. This one will fit nicely. Okay, so that is basically manual flat packing, the manual flat packing process. You can just ignore the sketches just to make sure that everything falls within the sketch lines. Now, when you do a manual flat pack, it's absolutely crucial to remember that the spaces in between parts need to be more than your cutter. So if you're using a 6mm cutter or let's say router bit that is, if you're using a 6mm or 8mm router bit, then the gap in between these two parts need to obviously be wider than that. If it's less, you'll end up cutting into the panels. Now, if you want to neaten this up, we can again use the align tool, and you can just align all these parts nicely. As mentioned before, it is quite a long process to do it this way around. If you wanted to neaten this up and make sure that you've got the optimum space, and you simply align those panels. So what I used to do when I started off, so I would align a panel like this and actually align it to the side of this flush, and then say just move this panel up, say 10 millimeters, which is fine for now because we're going to be using a 6mm bit. And I would do same thing again here. And then just hit the M button, move it 10mm up. And I would repeat that, and then you get all these nicely spaced 10mm, 10mm, 10mm without these weird gaps in between. But you get the idea. So essentially what you want to do is flat pack all these items with all the machine parts facing to the top. And you'll just double check on the side to make sure that you've got your 16mm board all in one go and no parts floating around or that you've missed anywhere else. So that is everything on the same level. That's manual flat packing done on a 1.2 by 2.4 meter board. And we're pretty much ready to set up the cam as we do in the following lesson. I hope this helps.